Sex drive. Sex drive. What's up, guys? How's it going? My name is Pax Perry with PaxPerry.com, where you can find stuff and coaching and programs. I hope you enjoyed this video. So, sex drive. Let me tell you a little bit about what I know and my personal background on researching sex drive and testosterone and thyroid and diets and training and working out, and my experience with the porn industry, as I've been in the porn industry for quite a while, and I continuously do research on this topic, sex drive, libido, or anything that has to do with sexual health and well-being. I have researched it, and I have come to the conclusion that I've figured it out for myself. So now I'm doing this video to share my knowledge of what I know on sex drive, and if you're having problems, if you are just curious, you want to improve your sex drive, or if you have low libido, low sex drive, and you want to fix it, this is the video for you. I did a video the other day on the complete nutritional guide, but when I was doing that video, I realized that there's a lot in my lifestyle that directly impacts sex drive in a good way. I have there's so much that goes into this, and that's why it's so complicated. That's why doctors don't really know, and at least every doctor that I've talked to, they seem to not know jack shit about what they were talking about. And that goes for hypothyroidism, that goes for any type of problem that I've had. And people that I've been friends with that have talked to doctors, they have not helped them with their complicated issues. Assuming that you're working out, you have a healthy lifestyle, I 100% think that that's necessary, and that you are going to the gym, you're lifting some weights, you're doing some cardio, everything that everyone knows is good for you. And you're hopefully eating a diet that does not contain gluten in it, because gluten causes hypothyroidism. I know that 100% it does. If this is the first time you're hearing this, and you have a hypothyroidism problem, or you have a low functioning thyroid, your T4 and or T3 levels are at the bottom of the reference range, or they're lower, then that thyroid problem is probably also causing a libido problem. So that's something that I want to explain in this video. So your diet, don't eat gluten, don't eat high fructose corn syrup, and pretty much just don't eat junk. Packaged food is junk. It's poison. That is from my experience. It may not affect you, but it affected me, and it destroyed my thyroid. So it can also destroy the pancreas, which that's what happened to my dad. This video is not about gluten. I just think that that is a primary cause of many of the health issues that we have today, such as hypothyroidism and low libido, irrespectively. So we gotta treat the root cause. What is causing this issue for people who have problems with their sex drive? So think about it. Now there's a couple things that can 100% ruin your sex drive. And the one major thing besides gluten, which gluten doesn't directly impact your sex drive, it impacts the thyroid, and it tells the thyroid to downregulate. And then you probably will have a low libido at that point. But what's the other thing that directly impacts the sex drive and destroys it? That's SSRIs, antidepressants, including Wellbutrin XL or bupropion. I was under the impression a couple years ago that I had some pretty severe depression, and a doctor, 5 different doctors that I went to actually recommended that I take Wellbutrin XL or bupropion. That's, I guess, the chemical name for it, for that drug. And they said that it would raise my sex drive or not impact my sex drive at all. The problem is everything that I've read and everything that I've researched suggested that that would 100% make it go down either by at least 50% or it would completely kill it. And I tried that medication, and from day 1 to day 7 that I tried it on a very low dose, it completely destroyed my sex drive. And I will never use that medication again. And that's one reason why I'm very irritated with doctors, because they just prescribe stuff that treats the symptoms, not the causes. So, and fixing depression is another video or another issue that is beyond my knowledge, because I haven't done research on that. But I have done research on sex drive. So, sex drive. The things that damage the sex drive is SSRIs, gluten indirectly, emotional things, hormones, and vitamins. So your hormones need to be in the correct ratios. So if you have low testosterone, for a male, if you have low estrogen, or if that ratio of estrogen to testosterone is not in the correct ratio for you, which everyone's a little bit different. Like me, for example, my body prefers to run higher estrogen. So because I inject TRT, I inject testosterone, I don't take an AI, I don't take an aromatase inhibitor, because my body does not like that, and I don't abuse testosterone. So use enough testosterone. If you're going to use TRT, if you're going to be on TRT, use enough testosterone that your body needs. Typically that's around 20 milligrams a day for most people. This isn't medical advice, but that's what I found is the average is about 200 milligrams per week of testosterone if you're going to go that route. So that's just one pathway, though. That is the main pathway. Testosterone and estrogen impact the sex drive the most. So the second cause would be the thyroid. So getting a TSH, T4, T3, and reverse T3 panel, all of those values, TSH needs to be low, T4 needs to be in the middle or on the high range, definitely not at the bottom of the reference range, and T3 I believe needs to be around the middle or so. At least for me, that's where I feel best, but definitely not at the top of the reference range for T3 and not at the bottom of the reference range for T3. That's the active thyroid hormone in your body. But the conversion of T4 to T3 needs to happen, which it does in the gut. And what you're eating, gluten, causes that conversion to slow down, from my experience. So I hope I've convinced you to not consume gluten, because eventually it will cause a problem. And you don't want to have your reverse T3 too high, because that is a catabolic process, muscle wasting process, where the whole equation is just flipped. So I've done a lot of research on the thyroid, but everyone's a little bit different on what their values need to be. And I believe for females, it's a slightly different ratio. So testosterone, estrogen needs to be optimal. If you have low testosterone, below 300 nanograms per deciliter, that is low. Depending on your age and who you go to see your doctor, that will definitely be something to consider. I would just get a full blood panel, a full metabolic panel, and a full thyroid panel with not just the TSH, because most doctors will just be stupid and just order the TSH. Well, that's only the first number on the thyroid panel. That doesn't tell you anything. So you need to see all the values, T4, T3, reverse T3, and TSH. So we've got the hormones. Hormones need to function. You can't be taking an SSRI and expect your sex drive to work, because it probably won't, including Wellbutrin XL, which is not technically an SSRI, because I was told by a doctor that there was no serotonin, but I'm almost 100% positive that it blocks the serotonin receptor. And serotonin is required for sex. Without it, if that receptor is blocked, you're not going to feel pleasure. So, what are the things that increase the sex drive? What are the things that boost libido? Besides taking TRT, if you need it, most people don't need it, but a lot of people do, including myself. That's why I'm on TRT. So, what are the things that increase libido? And also, if you need thyroid replacement therapy, taking T4 or T3 and or a combination of T4 and T3, that's a hard math equation to figure out. That would be for each person specifically. If they have a low functioning thyroid, then you would probably need to be on the thyroid medication, and definitely get out of, like, first I would fix the diet, cut out the gluten, cut out all the inflammatory foods, the things that are inflammatory to the stomach, because the stomach tells the pituitary gland to signal to the thyroid, and that directly impacts the thyroid of what you're eating. So I hope this makes sense. I hope that this is like followable. I know that this video is more like for someone who has researched things, but hopefully I'm explaining it in a good way, I guess. So the things that increase libido, sex drive, definitely testosterone, definitely thyroid medication. If you use it and you have a low functioning thyroid, you should get a bump in libido. So at least that was my experience initially on taking T4, and I was taking like really low, like 15 or 20 micrograms of T4. Definitely talk with a doctor. I'm not 100% on the medication, if it's required or not, or the enzymes, like the pure encapsulations, the systemic enzymes, that also fixes the hypothyroidism. But I don't know if that actually increases the thyroid values. So that's something that I would have to have more experience with, because I've taken both the enzymes and the thyroid medication and fixed my diet. But I don't have enough experience. So I with doing all of that combined to see if the thyroid medication would be 100% necessary. But I guess that's a topic for a different video. So thyroid medication, if you need it, do not take thyroid medication if you don't need it. 100% do not take it. Talk to a doctor. I'm not a doctor. I'm just someone who deeply researches these things and experiments on myself. So Melano Tanto. Melano Tanto is the most powerful, in my opinion, in my experience, And all the friends that I've talked to that's used Melano Tanto, specifically in the bodybuilding industry, Melano Tanto makes you really tan. If you tan on a regular basis, I would personally take Melano Tanto just a few times a week if I wanted an extreme libido boost, but it impacts the pituitary gland. It doesn't impact hormones. So if you inject the Melano Tanto, that is only going to send the signal to your brain that you want sex all the time and you're thinking more sexual thoughts. So that can be super powerful, though. At least in my experience, that has been the most powerful thing that I've ever taken that really increased my sex drive, like within a couple of hours of injecting Melano Tanto. So Melano Tanto, what about PT-141? I haven't done that. I've heard nothing but bad things about PT-141, so I personally would stay away from that, although I don't have any experience with it, so I guess I can't really say anything bad about it. I can just tell you what I've researched. So Melano Tanto, 100% that will temporarily fix the sex drive problems. Now, if you're taking an SSRI with that, the Melano Tanto is like a crutch. So keep that in mind. I would not rely on Melano Tanto to fix your sex drive because it's treating the symptoms, not the cause. So we got to figure out what the cause of a low sex drive is. So Semax with an S. Semax. Semax is another temporary solution. It is a central nervous system stimulant. In my experience, in the about a year that I used it for, not every single day, it definitely made me really awake. I think it was developed by Russia as an alternative to Adderall. However, it doesn't work anything like Adderall. It does give you stimulatory effects, and it does regenerate the central nervous system from central nervous system fatigue, and it will help you work out harder and recover faster on the central nervous system. It doesn't do anything hormonally, but it does stimulate the brain and the central nervous system, and it just happens to really increase my sex drive in the time that I use it, though. As soon as I come off, that's why it's a temporary solution. As soon as I come off the Semax, and this is just a nasal spray, I have not tried the injectable, and I don't think I will be trying that. I see no issue with just doing the nasal spray because it works. So the nasal spray Semax is just another temporary fix for a low libido. So those are the things that I know 100% impacts the sex drive, what damages the sex drive. And as far as like emotional disturbances, or if it's something related to depression, that could also really impact the sex drive, although that's not my expertise. I know hormones, and I know the brain, and I know the central nervous system, and I know food, and everything that has to do with that, and the whole bodybuilding lifestyle, making your life as healthy as possible. That's what I have experience with. I don't have any experience on anything mental, though. So I would say that's a lot. That's a lot. I hope you were able to follow along. If you have any questions, please ask me in the comments. I'm sure I have an answer for you. If you like this video, I hope you like it. And if you want coaching, please go to my website, and you will see an option for having me as your coach if you want to do that. I have 2 really good training programs on my website. Working on a third one. if you're interested in building muscle and losing fat and staying healthy, jacked and lean. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time.